Assalamu alaikum. I welcome you to the General Anatomy lecture. We will continue with our muscular system. Previously, we discussed about the classification of the skeletal muscles that was based upon the uh, architecture of the fibers of muscle along the line of pull. They were uh, parallel or they were oblique. Today we will continue with second type of classification. By the end of this lecture, you will be able to answer about the types of classification with their examples. Plus, we will also discuss some lubricating mechanism that are important for the muscles during their action. Uh, and today we will discuss about the classification based upon the action of the muscle. Firstly, they are the prime movers. Secondly, we will discuss about the synergists. Thirdly, we will discuss about antagonists and the fixators. What a prime mover is, as the name denotes, prime, major, mover. So, this type of muscle that initiate and maintain the parallel movement. In flexing of the elbow, the major prime mover is the brachialis. Secondly, we come to the synergists. As the name denotes, it basically aids the prime mover. It helps the prime mover, the major muscle, in its function. It may stabilize or modify the direction of the movement, and it may also act partial antagonist to the prime mover. And its best example is the bicep brachii. It works with the brachialis muscle and act as synergist to flex the elbow. Here again the same example of the flexing at the elbow joint, and here the biceps uh, help as synergist and aids the prime mover for its action. Thirdly, we have the antagonist. As the name denotes, the antagonist, it opposes the action of the agonist. It moderates the speed of the pull and helps in steady movement, and it also prevents excessive movement, and it stops the injury. Best example is the tricep brachii. Here you can see the triceps that are labeled. Agonist is the biceps that is contracted, and the tricep is the antagonist, so that should be relaxed during this flexion movement at the elbow joint. We are discussing the same example, so you can have a clear idea what a prime mover is, what is the synergist, and what is the antagonist. Now we come to the other type of the classification that we are doing, that is the action classification of the muscle based upon the group action. This is the fixator. As the name tells us, it fixes the movement, like it provides a solid base for the action of the agonists or the prime movers. It holds the skeleton firmly. In the flexion of the elbow, rhomboids hold the scapula in place. Here you can see The rhomboids, minor and the major, they hold the scapula in place while the action of this elbow flexion. Now we come to the lubricating mechanisms. We have two types of lubrication. One are the synovial bursa. This is also known as the. In the knee joint here, you can see there are three examples: the subpatellar bursa, the prepatellar bursa, and the infrapatellar bursa. What is bursa basically is? We have discussed in our previous lectures during your regular sessions. Bursa is basically a cavity filled with synovial fluid. It act as a cushion to give uh, trauma-free movement to the adjacent bones. It acts as a shock absorber, and it helps the bone or the surrounding muscle uh, to give trauma or injury free movement. Then we come to the tendon sheath. As the name denotes, tendon sheath, it basically again synovial filled cavity. It is a bag that is ensheathed around a tendon. So this is known as the tendon sheath. It also, like synovial bursa, it allow a friction-free movement to the tendon. By the end, we come to the summary of the lecture. In this lecture, we discussed about the classification of the skeletal muscle that is based upon the group action of the muscles, in which we discussed about the only one joint we discussed to show all the prime movers, fixators, stabilizers, and the antagonists, and we did the lubricating mechanisms that are important for the movement. One are the synovial bursa and the tendon sheath. This is a brief introduction of both of them because we have discussed them in detail in our previous sessions. So by this we come to the end of this session today. Thank you so much for your attention.